You're standing at a crossroads. Maybe it's a career pivot or a relocation or finally starting that business you've dreamed of for decades. You feel a pull in your gut, but then you freeze. Is that pull your intuition telling you this is the right step? Or is it fear telling you to run the other direction? In this video, I'm going to give you a simple 1-minute test to check, is this fear or is this intuition? So you can stop second guessing yourself and know exactly what direction you should go. To answer this, think about something that we've all experienced while driving our vehicles. Imagine you're driving down the highway and suddenly a bright red light flashes on your dashboard. This happened to me a couple weeks ago. It's the check engine light, and it's surprising and it's alarming and it demands your attention right now. I mean, we can't ignore this, right? It comes up, there it is, and it's like, what's your first thought? Oh man, something's wrong. And we associate that with high repair bills. Is the vehicle going to make it to our destination before we have to take it into the shop? I mean, all of these thoughts rush into our brains the minute we see that light. So if you think about how that feels, anxiety is that check engine light. It's designed to be loud and flashy so that it gets your attention. But here's the thing about that light. It often malfunctions. It might turn on because the gas cap is loose or just because the sensor is old. This has happened with my vehicle lately. That check engine light that came on, all it was that the tire pressure sensor is old or malfunctioning or something. So as long as I check all my tires and keep them properly filled, it's not an issue. But it doesn't matter. That check engine light stays on there. Every time I start the car, it's like, check the, tire pressure monitor, whatever, and I have to turn it off and it still sits there. The yellow light still sits there. And this is like a really minor issue, but yet it sits there like, your car's going to die any minute. Anxiety is like that. It can cause us to panic, but it doesn't always tell the truth about what's really happening and how dangerous it is. Intuition, on the other hand, is like the sound of the engine itself. That gentle hum, the way you can feel through the steering wheel when the car is running smoothly versus when it's not, when it's struggling. Intuition is like that deep mechanical hum. It doesn't flash or beep or blare in your eyes to make you afraid. It's kind of like a sense of alignment or misalignment. And this isn't just a metaphor, it's actually neurobiology. And understanding the science behind this might help you unlock your next step. So when we feel anxiety, we're actually experiencing activation of the amygdala, and this is the brain's threat detection center. It triggers the fight or flight response. And when it thinks there's something to be afraid of, it dumps stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline into our systems. And this is why anxiety feels so loud and frantic, because we have these hormones going all over the place. It creates these physical symptoms like your racing heartbeat or shallow breath or this sense of urgency. Intuition works differently throughout our lives, especially as we get older. We gain some wisdom, hopefully. The brain has stored millions of emotional memories associated with our decisions, somatic markers. So when we face a new choice, the brain quickly scans that entire library of past experiences and then sends a subtle signal to the body. So unlike the amygdala's screaming alarm, the intuition signal is low arousal. It's processed in the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, which is just a big name for a different part of the brain than the amygdala. And so it doesn't feel like panic. It just feels like a gentle knowing. So imagine you're in a moment in your life when you need to make a decision. How can we tell the difference between these two? Well, we look at the quality of the feeling. Anxiety feels like a spinning top. It's frantic and fast. And it screams things like, if you don't decide right now, everything is going to fall apart. Like that check engine light. It feels like a contraction, like tightness in the chest or the throat. And it hijacks your focus and forces you to obsess over what could go wrong. Intuition, on the other hand, feels like an anchor. It's calm and grounded. And even if its answer is no, don't go that direction, the feeling isn't of panic. It's just there. It's like a comforting fact that says, not this way. So if the voice in your head sounds like a frightened child screaming for help, that's anxiety. If, on the other hand, the feeling in your gut feels like a wise elder quietly pointing a finger in the direction you should go, that's intuition. In our daily lives, we can often mistake the louder feeling for the true one, but in biology, the opposite is true. The flashing light is just a sensor. The hum of the engine is the truth. So now you know the difference, at least intellectually. But here's the problem. When you're in the middle of a high-stakes decision or trying to figure out your next step in life, your brain is usually doing both at the same time. You're feeling the intuitive pull toward a certain direction, but the warning light is also blinding you at the same time. And you can't just think your way out of that biological storm. You need to physically reset the dashboard so you can read the gauges more clearly. So that's exactly what this 1-minute test that I'm going to show you does. It cuts the power to that flashing warning light just long enough for you to feel the gentle steering. And you can do it anywhere, anytime. So we're going to use a concept from neuroscience called interoception. This refers to the sense of the internal state of the body. It's a medical term referring to your brain's ability to read signals from your body's organs. So your heartbeat and your breath and your gut. And research shows that people who are experiencing anxiety often have noisy interoception. That just means that the signal is scrambled. So the dashboard light is blinding you and you can't feel the hum of the engine. To fix this, we have to reset the sensors. In other words, in this 60-second exercise I'm going to show you, you're going to go through a process that forces your brain to switch from the amygdala, which is the panic center, to the prefrontal cortex, where intuition lives. And you can use it anytime you're unsure where your signal is coming from. Even if you don't think you're anxious in that moment, this still works. So this process has 3 steps. The brake, the scan, and the steering. And you can do this anywhere, in a meeting, in your car, or even at the dinner table. So step 1 is the brake. So this takes maybe 20 seconds. When the check engine light of anxiety is flashing, your body is physically in a high rev state. Your heart rate might be up, your breathing might be shallow. You can't access the intuition in this state because the noise is just too loud. So we need to manually override the nervous system. The brake that we're going to use is a type of deep breathing. And we do this with a specific breathing pattern. So you're going to inhale for 4 seconds through the nose and then exhale for 6 seconds through the mouth. Let's do one cycle together so you can see how it feels. Just sit comfortably and inhale through the nose and then exhale through the mouth, like you're blowing through a straw for 6 seconds. Do that 2 more times. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds, exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. When we do this, when the exhale is longer than the inhale, what we're doing is we're stimulating the vagus nerve. Think of this vagus nerve as the brake pedal for your stress system. This is the longest nerve in the body. It goes from your brainstem all the way to your gut, which is literally the physical connection for that gut feeling we talk about. So when you're anxious, your engine is revved up. Stimulating this nerve through this breathing exercise physically slows the heart rate and tells the brain that we're safe right now. We're not being chased by a tiger. We don't have to be anxious. It turns off the red flashing light and quiets that alarm so you can start to hear the hum of the engine. Okay, step number 2. Now that we've cut the alarm, we need to check the mechanics. So we're going to scan the body. But here's the secret sauce: neutral labeling. So anxiety tells us stories. It says, my chest hurts because I'm making a mistake, or my stomach is turning around because doom is coming. Interoception just looks at the data. So you close your eyes for a minute and you scan your body from your feet all the way up to your head. And then you just name the physical sensations you're feeling without attaching any emotions to them. So we don't want to say, I feel anxious. We want to say something like, I feel heat in my chest, or a tightness in my gut, or a fluttering in my stomach, or tension in my jaw. We name the actual feeling. This helps us to move from being the victim of the feeling to just someone who's observing it. According to research in mindfulness and interoception, this simple act of labeling the feeling disengages the emotional center of the brain. So you're no longer the car spinning out of control. You are the mechanic who's standing outside the car looking at the engine block. And you're stripping away the story that we tell ourselves to find just the data, what's actually happening. And then we move on to step 3. Step 3 is the steering check. This is the final 10 seconds of your 1-minute process. So you've quieted the alarm with your deep breathing, you've identified the raw data with your body scan, and now you ask the question again that you were considering. Bring that decision into your mind. Should I take this job or not? Should I send that text to that person or not? Should I try this new business or not? And then feel for the steering pull. Imagine you got a steering wheel that your intuition has control of, and which way is it wanting to take you? If you're in a calm state, your intuition is going to be able to talk to you much more. If the sensation you're feeling is pulling back, tightening, or shrinking, that's usually your intuition saying no. But if the sensation feels solid or grounded or more opening, or if it feels like an anchor dropping and you're feeling relief, that's probably intuition. Remember, anxiety tends to push us. It feels like I have to do this or else. Intuition pulls us. It feels like, try this way. So intuition is like attracting us to our next step, whereas anxiety is pushing us into a step that may not be right for us. So as you're listening for where your steering wants to go, try to keep all of that in mind. If you're still feeling anxious, then go back to that breathing process and then scan the body again. Give yourself that time you need to calm the nervous system down, and then pose your question and see which way the car wants to go. So let's go back to that crossroads we talked about at the beginning of the video. That career pivot, or the change in relationship, or the new chapter in your life that you're thinking about. If you do this 60-second dashboard check and you find that the feeling is high, tight, and buzzing, that's fear. It doesn't mean the no is the right answer. It just means that your engine is overheating and you'll need to pull over and let it calm down before you decide. But if you do the check and you find that the feeling is kind of low, heavy, and solid, even if it's a little scary, that's your intuition. That's alignment. That's your intuition telling you that the car is ready to drive. So your investigation of the week. Next time you feel that panic rising or you're just not sure where the feeling is coming from, try this 60-second exercise. Put on the brakes, scan your body, and then ask the question that you're considering. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Now, if you're doing this check and you feel like your dashboard is always lighting up, your body might be trying to tell you something bigger. I've put together a free guide called the Signals Journal. It walks you through the 7 specific signs that your life is asking for a major change. It's completely free, and I've linked it in the description below. And if you feel like sticking around for a minute, check out the next video coming up on the end screen. It'll help you dive more deeply into your own intuitive knowing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.